And winter is definitely knocking on the door. It's been pouring down rain the last few days, and the rain has just been ice cold. The snow level's coming down on the hills every day a little bit lower. I think the high today is about 40 degrees. Forecast to get some snow in a couple of days, and the temperature is supposed to drop down below freezing down into the 20s. I'm getting everything put away now, all the woodwork and stuff put away. I've cleaned out this side of the hangar over here. I moved the table saw over here and the jointer over here so far. And I'm starting to get them winterized, I guess, the storage dies or whatever. I sprayed the table saw top up with this CRC heavy duty corrosion inhibitor. And I started on the jointer, on the shaper, but I run out of stuff. Well, I had to run to town and get some more. And then I've got some ceramic heat bulbs that I'm going to put in all the equipment here. Oh, this is what I've got set up. This was what I had in the jointer. But I've got two ceramic heat bulbs. They just fit into a standard socket, light socket. And this came in a kit with them. When I bought them, it's a ceramic receptacle. I've got it screwed onto a piece of plywood with a neodymium magnet screwed into the backside here. And I can go ahead and just stick that on the metal inside the cabinet and plug it in and keep everything warm. For years we used a 60 watt or 100 watt light bulb and everything, but you can't buy those anymore. So, and then I've got the corrosion, anti-corrosion covers to put over the top of them. Now the floor here is just wood over dirt. It was getting a lot of water running in through the walls here and the floor. The ground here slopes down, and when I built the hangar, the ground was so hard that I couldn't do anything with it. It was just too hard to do anything with. The driveway on the other side of the hangar slopes this way, and the water would run right down it and run right in here. But last summer I dug out a ditch along the edge of the wall of the hangar there, put a drain pipe in there and filled it in with drain rock, and that's dried this out really nice in here. When I built these floors, I used a winch to come along and pull these boards up as tight together as I could get them. They were just almost one piece, but of course as they've dried out over the years and they dry and shrink, they got gaps in them, so the moisture, the ground moisture, comes up through them. So I put some roofing underlayment down on the floor there underneath those machines to keep the moisture from coming up through the floor directly under the machines. You got the surface of that shaper sprayed down with corrosion block. I hate doing that because that stuff is nasty to clean up when you go to break the machine out to use it, but it's easier to clean up than rust. Now the power feeder, I'm going to leave it up for now until that corrosion block all dries up. But then I've got a block of wood that I'll put down there. What they recommend doing is putting a block of wood underneath the body of the machine and then lowering it down. They don't want it sitting, the weight of it sitting down on the rubber wheels on that, so that they would take a set if they're setting down there on that. So I've got a block of wood to set in there. I'll get that dried out and then I'll cover it all up with the cover. Meanwhile, have a little bite of lunch, and Haji wants to share my lunch with me, my sandwich with me. Well, I guess winter's here, and it's not even Halloween yet. Actually, tomorrow's Halloween. This afternoon, it started spitting snowflakes here. And the snow level's been coming down on the mountains every day, so I guess winter's here. Not ready for it yet, but I've been working on it. I am getting my machine tools put away. I've got the jointer pretty much set. It's moved over there where it's going to go. I've got the machine surface of it all covered with corrosion block, corrosion inhibitor. This stuff here. Paste wax on it, of course, to start with on the bottom of it, and then corrosion inhibitor on top, so maybe it's a little easier to clean off when I get ready to go use it again. I've got two heating elements in there, one on each side of the cabinet where it's underneath the the individual tables, the beds on them. And then I've got one of those covers over the top of it, a Z-rest cover. This is a yellow cedar board. It's a cut off from the fence that the extension, longer fence that I made for the shaper. I've got a ceramic base mounted onto that, a heating element onto it. I'm going to cut this in half to use so I can make two out of it. I'll make a pocket on the other side, and then I'll put one of these neodymium magnets in there, and then that way I can just take this and stick it right up against the inside of the cabinet, and then that way the heat will rise up there and hopefully keep the moisture from condensing on that top. Then I have the two in the jointer, and when I made those up, I'd got a kit with these ceramic bases in them and a plug, a cord, and I put those together, and they were set up with two tabs on them to mount right to a board. Well, I ran out of those, so what I was going to do is I was going to get some of these ceramic, well, what I did do is get some of these ceramic light fixtures, and I was going to mount those up to the board. But when I went up to the basement and looked through the package that I've got that has the heaters in them, I found that they had some of these little ceramic bases in the box with the heaters. So this is what they are. They're just a ceramic base with a regular light fixture type socket in it, and it's got two terminals on there for the wire to hook up to, and then a mounting tab. Well, these are a lot smaller, a lot lighter than these, so I'm going to use these. The problem with these are that this tab has a 90-degree bend on it, so it would mount onto the board like that, but then the heating element wouldn't fit in it, and even if it did fit in it, it'd be up against this board, which could eventually cause a fire. Now, if I mounted it up on the end like that, that would work, but that's not what I'm going to do. So what I did with this one is I took this little tab out of there. It's just held in with a Phillips head screw in here on the inside. I took that screw out, took the tab off, a couple pairs of pliers, and flattened this tab out, and then I screwed it down to this board. And I took some RTV, some high temp RTV, and filleted around that so that the wire connections here are not exposed, and it'll help add a little bit more strength to that to hold it down. Although it shouldn't need any strength, it's just going to be sitting in there. Like I said, these didn't come with a cord like the other kit that I had, but what I've been doing is every time I get an appliance or something that goes gunny bag on me, I salvage as many parts off of it as I can, but one of the things I do is I cut the cords off of them. And I've got these two cords here, and that's what I'd use to hook those up with. These cords came off of some of those cheap fluorescent light fixtures, the 4-foot cheap fluorescent light fixtures that I got in the shop in the hangar. Some of those go bad in a year or two. Some of these have been lasting pretty good. They're, you know, $7 or $8 or whatever they were at Home Depot and whatnot, so they're a heck of a lot less expensive than a regular fluorescent light fixture, but you can't expect them to last forever. But anyway, I salvaged the cords off of them, and that's what this cord is. So I've got this one. All I've got to do left on it is to put a pocket in it and put one of these magnets in it. I'll cut it off, and then I can make another one, maybe two more out of that. I need one of them for the shaper, one for the table saw, and one for the planer. Well, anyway, that's what's going on here. I'll get those heaters made up and get those tools put away. The only other thing I want to do with those tools is to figure out some way to keep the mice from getting in there like they did before. That jointer had been put away for several years, and it was in pretty good shape, except for where the mice got in there and made their toilets and stuff. So those nests were kind of nasty. So if I can, I've got a bunch of mint that we had growing around the porch on the cabin. I'm going to try that because that works around a place to keep mice and stuff away. And I'll try maybe a dryer sheet or some mothballs or something like that, something in there to try to keep them out of there anyway. But that's the only thing I got left to do to put those away until I need them again. Probably not going to use them for a while. Try to bring the airplane home here sometime in the not too distant future, and once I get it in here in the hangar, then I don't have room to do anything else in here. So. Well, the thing that got me last time for storing all this stuff, I had a little bit of rust on things from just the moisture and whatnot, but the thing that really got me was the mice getting into the machinery and building their nest there and their latrines there and stuff, and that mouse urine is really corrosive on the steel. Well, I'm going to try to prevent that this time. I've heard that dryer sheets will keep the mice away, mothballs will keep them away. Other people say, no, that don't work, this works, or the other thing works. Well, I've got some dryer sheets I just stuck in the table saw, and I'll get some mothballs in one of these containers. These are containers that deli food comes in, deli meats and stuff come in. So I'll just stick a few in one of these containers and then stick the container in the tool. And then I've also got some mint leaves that we harvested. We keep mint planted around the front door of the cabin. That supposedly helps keep the mice out, and so far it has kept the mice out, except for the ones that the cats catch and bring in to show off. So anyway, I've got some of those dried over in the shop. I'll bring some of those over and scatter out in the bottom of these tools and stuff too, and hopefully either one thing or a combination of things will keep the mice out of them. So anyway, I got one of these containers for the table saw. I'll put one in the, I've still got to get one for the jointer, so or the planer, either one or the other. Well, anyway, I'll put one in the table saw, one in the shaper, and one in the jointer, and then I'll get another box for the planer. I got the table saw. It's over there on the far side. I got it set up. Got the shapers right here, and I think I've got it set up ready to go too. I put one of the heaters inside the cabin of it. And then I've got a dryer sheet right there on top of the dust collector guard, and I got some mint leaves in there. And then down inside of the cabinet, of course, I've got the heater, I've got the mothballs and another dryer sheet and some mint leaves down there. I don't know whether I'm missing the back cover for this or whether there was no back cover for it, but anyway, it's open in the back there, so I took a piece of that house wrap that I put on the cabin, taped it up on there to kind of close that hole in a little bit and hold some of the heat in there. Now I've got that vapor cover that go on there. I'll get that put on there. The jointer already has heaters in it. I'll get some more mothballs and stick in there, dryer sheet and all that, and then I can start to get these all plugged in, get them ready to go for the cold weather.
Dryer sheets.
Yeah, stinks.
Yeah.
Well, the jointer, the shaper, and the table saw are all put to bed. Snug as a bug in a rug. At least as good as they're going to get. Got the electrical cords hooked up, the heaters hooked up on them, covered up with their vapo, whatever cover. Hopefully enough stinkum in there to keep the mice away. Now I've got to do the planer. The planer is still sitting over there in the middle of the floor. It's not where it's going to be for the winter. I still got to get it set up for this cold weather so it's protected. I've got it covered up with one of these vapo covers, but I better get some other stuff in there and get that heater in there and stuff and get it set up for this cold weather. The planer is all set up. I've got mint all the way around it, dryer sheets in it, mothballs, and the heater. Just got to put the vapo box back over it or bag back over it and plug in the heater, and it's ready for this cold weather that's coming. Anyway, with that's done. I'm happy with that for now. I'm back in the hangar now, and like I said, I got a mess to clean up here. I'm cleaning up outside and getting it ready for snow. And I got a whole bunch of odds and ends of scraps of wood that are no longer viable for anything else, and most of it's too long to fit in the stove the way it is. And they were soaking wet. They'd been outside for a while, so we drug a lot of that stuff in here and stacked it up so it'd get dried out. And I've got to get the chop saw out or the something and cut that stuff up so it'll fit in the stove and we can burn it. A bunch of ends over there, those were all mill ends and stuff from cutting the porch timbers to length and then cutting the timbers and boards and stuff for the cover over the stand for the diesel fuel tank. Those were all out in the weather. I brought those in and stacked them up in here so they could get them dried up a little bit, get them chopped up so they'll fit in the stove. And every year I bring in all my batteries. I've got some spare batteries here. Bring in all the batteries and charge them up, put them away for the winter, bring them in here where they're out of the equipment and stuff and get them all charged up. So I've been doing that, and I've got a couple of batteries that, I don't know, one of them showed up here, a little garden tractor battery, and it was flat dead. I'm trying to charge it up and see if I can get anything out of it. And a couple other batteries are no good. I'm charge them and see what I can get out of them, if I can get any use out of them at all. If not, then we can use them for trade-ins for new batteries, or we can break them down and melt the lead out of them for something. But we'll get the lead out. Well, anyway, I've made a mess in here, even as more than it was before, because I've been moving stuff around trying to make room for everything. I made room over here on this side for the shaper, jointer, and table saw. Got those put away and covered up. And I've got my belt sander over there. I've got to move it out of the way because I'm going to bring the planer right over there and stick it there where it's out of the way. It's still in the way of the airplane right now. So I've got a lot of work to do in here to get ready to bring the airplane home. I got a lot of junk to clean up and move around, and I want to get that done. Hunting season's over now, so the traffic on the roads is going to be less. Hopefully I can get an opening before we get too much snow on the ground and stuff to get that plane home. It's okay where it's at right now down in the hangar. In fact, the fish and game biologist, I talked to him a couple days ago, and he still might want to try to go out and do an elk survey down on Zarimbo Island, so maybe we can get that done. Get the weather for that and go do an elk survey. I wouldn't mind doing that. Well, I'm making a little bit of progress in here. Doesn't really seem like much, but the old lady said when she blew her nose in the gravy, every little bit helps. I swamped out an area here on the front of the hangar, and I've got the chop saw, the miter saw set up now. So I'm going to convert all of this scrap junk wood that's too long to fit into the stove into stuff that'll fit into the stove so we can burn it. And then I got to clean up around the stove over there alongside of it someplace so I can stack all this stuff up over there and get it out of the way here. Anyway, so the stuff that is dry enough, I take over to the stove and stack it up over there. Then we use it for kindling to get the fires going and stuff, and then the rest of the stuff I'll stack up where it can dry out a little bit before we try to burn it. I got all that pile of junk wood all cut up into something usable now, all into firewood lengths. Anything that was dry enough I went over and stuck over beside the stove burning it, but most of this stuff is super saturated and it's going to need to dry out some more, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. I got to stack it up someplace where it can get air flowing through it and get dried out. Well, I guess I'll have to clean a spot out over there beside the stove where it can get some of the heat off the stove when it's burning. Well, I got all those sticks cut up and stacked up over by the stove in a nice airy stack where they should be able to get some air around them and get dried out. Get the heat from the stove around them and just the normal airflow around them. They're out of the way, and then I had a bunch of cut off ends, the 6x6s. I stuck those, and some 4x6s. I stuck those over there in that stack too. They were wet, they'd been out in the rain. Well, all of that is all cleaned up. Now I got to figure out what I'm going to do with these cut off ends of these 2x6s. Those are anywhere from 2 foot long to 3 foot long. Some of them are longer. They're too good to cut up into firewood. They make good stickers and are good shims and blocking and stuff like that. I don't want to stick them out in the rain, but I got to figure out something to do to get them out of the way here. There's a couple of them there that are almost 6 feet long, and then that one is 12 inches wide and about 2 foot long. That's the one we made the medallion out of for the house. Then I've got what do I got? Four or five cut off ends, 4x4 blocks there, or 4x6 blocks there that are too good to burn. Well, anyway, like I said, I got to figure out what I'm going to do with them. But everything's coming together. I took all of the boards that were in here up and stuck them in my lumber house. Got those out of the way, or at least most of them. So anyway, that's making progress. That's getting this thing swamped out a little bit. Still got a lot of work to do, but a little bit at a time.